another twist in the James Whalen tug saga. The company that was said to have offered to take it for free now says no such offer was made. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. City officials issued a clarification today regarding the confusing situation at Monday night's City Council meeting. Officials with Harbor Metals Recycling say they never offered to scrap the James Whalen tug for free or sent any emails to council or city staff. The supposed offer was the basis of Councillor Albert Aiello's motion to delay awarding a tender to another company to recycle the whole vessel. That motion passed 9-3. City Infrastructure Commissioner Kayla Dixon says the misunderstanding arose from an email sent by a member of the public naming Harbor Metals as willing to perform salvage work at no cost. An investigation determined there was no proposal or viable offer. City staff will now present a follow-up report to Council on April 7th with its initial recommendation to award the $579,000 contract to Marine Recycle Corporation to dispose of the James Whalen tug. Confederation College has announced the suspension of 11 academic programs for this coming September. The moves are being blamed on shifts in enrollment patterns and federal policy changes regarding international students. Some of the affected programs include business, human resources, international business management, culinary management, aerospace manufacturing, electronics engineering, and dental assisting. The program suspensions will impact 4% of incoming domestic students. Current students in those programs are not impacted and will be able to complete their studies. College officials say these decisions are never taken lightly. They've scheduled a news conference for tomorrow morning to address the program reductions. The Elections Canada returning office for the 2 Thunder Bay area ridings are officially open as they get ready for the upcoming federal election. While the campaign is still in its early stages, area voters can already make their voices heard by casting a ballot right at the returning offices. Riley Cohen reports.
A few polling booths are already open and available at the 2 returning offices. For Thunder Bay Rainy River, voters can go to the returning office at the former Agnew H. Johnston School. And in Thunder Bay Superior North, the office is at County Fair Mall. The returning officer there, Dale Mason, explains that while the candidate list won't be finalized until April 7th, a process is already in place for people wanting to cast their ballots now.
Well, they're taking a chance then on that the candidate they want to vote for is actually going to be a candidate. Until they come to us and register, I don't really know who's going to be on the list. It is a write-in ballot, and what the person needs to know is the name of the person. They don't need to know their party. They just put the name of the person on the ballot, and it's put into a privacy envelope and then into a secondary envelope, and then it goes into a ballot box.
Meanwhile, advance polls will take place over Easter weekend from April 18th to 21st. And with the election fast approaching on April 28th, both ridings are focused on securing staff for each voting location. Kevin O'Donnell, the returning officer for Thunder Bay Rainy River, emphasized the critical role of their team. He noted that approximately 100 staff will be needed for the advance polls. Then, on Election Day, the workforce will swell to around 1,000, and they're still looking for more staff.
There are a lot of moving parts, and so we're trying to make sure that everybody has a good experience as a voter, and we're trying to make sure that our staff is respected and is safe. But yeah, we're hiring literally hundreds of people, and there are tons of moving parts. Lots of election rolls for Election Day, so if people are interested, they should come down.
The positions are paid, and individuals also have the option to register online rather than in person. Mason explains why it's important for people to apply to work during the election and its significant impact their participation can have.
There are 3 reasons why people might want to do that. 1, because they love their country. Here's a flag. 2, because it's a fun social activity to be part of a group or running a poll. And 3, because you get paid. It's not volunteer work. You get paid for training, and then you get paid for the day or the 4 days that you work.
Voter cards will begin being delivered on April 7th ahead of the election on April 28th. Whether you cast your vote today, tomorrow, or in the coming weeks, rest assured your ballot will be counted. Riley Cohen, TBT News.
Wabigoon Lake Ojibwe Nation members could be in line for a big payment. It's believed the First Nation recently accepted its first milestone payment for the Nuclear Waste Management Organization. Band members were then sent an application form for a $145,000 engagement and education payment connected to the planned nuclear waste repository. This follows a similar process to the agreement between NWMO and Ignace, where the town got a $1.5 million payment after declaring itself willing to continue in the hosting process. Wabigoon's deal hasn't been made public, and NWMO spokesperson Vince Ponca says the agreement is confidential. To qualify for the payment, applicants had to be band members between October 14th and November 16th of 2024, the same day a referendum on the nuclear waste project was held in Wabigoon. Chief Clayton Whalen said the vote showed overwhelming support, but didn't share exact numbers. Whalen declined an interview about the payments. Construction on the repository is expected to start in the early 2030s. A Thunder Bay police inspector had the opportunity to talk about the skills displayed by City Police Force in the massive fraud investigation involving fake Norval Morrisseau paintings. Inspector Jason Ryback presented the case at a Canadian-Italian symposium last week in Ottawa. Justin Hardy has the story.
It's important that everybody that worked on this is recognized for the work they did in it. We had a tremendous group of people.
Thunder Bay Police Inspector Jason Ryback participated in a symposium between Canadian and Italian law enforcement officials focused on crimes against cultural property. Ryback was invited to take part as he led the investigation into what many call the largest art fraud in the world. Thousands of fake Norval Morrisseau paintings were peddled across the world. During the session, Ryback highlighted collaboration as an important tool, especially for a case on the scale of the Morrisseau art fraud investigation.
This was about a 3.5-year investigation. So having that support from each other's agencies, having experience shared from each other's agencies, for both our service and the OPP, and the investigators involved, it was the first art crime type investigation we did. So leaning on the FBI to support us. And then as we went through this, some of the civilian partners that have expertise in these areas where traditionally in policing we may not look to them.
The symposium featured guest speakers from numerous different law enforcement agencies between Canada and Italy. Ryback says it was great to be able to put the local police service's name out on the international stage.
Yeah, I built lots of connections with various high-level policing partners that were there. I've got a stack of business cards here from them all. So it really, for me, it put our organization on a worldwide scale. It put our investigation, I know it's gotten lots of national attention, but it really, I think it opened up people's eyes to the magnitude of it. I don't think they really understood how big this really was.
At the end of the symposium, Ryback participated in a repatriation ceremony where Italian cultural artifacts that had been seized in Canada were formally returned to Italy. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
Creativity and engineering were on display today as some local students put their problem-solving and teamwork skills to the test. The skilled trades competition had grades 7 and 8 Catholic board students making robots and windmills as part of an Ontario Youth Apprenticeship competition. Jaden Billick has the story.
The second annual competition, held in the gym of Pope John Paul II School, brought over 70 future engineers from 3 senior Catholic elementary schools showcasing their creations. The students were divided into 18 teams, 9 working on a Lego robotics challenge, and the other 9 focused on a green energy challenge with windmills. Coordinator of Digital Technology, Paul Mackett, spoke about that competition.
The students are allowed to design any type of blade that they want to fit their turbine. It has to fit within a 24 by 24 inch box where we have the fan pulling air over the fan blades, which creates the turbine to spin, and then we measure the amount of volt output on each team as they take part.
The event aims to mirror the Skilled Trades Challenge hosted in Toronto, and teams are being scored by judges based on the challenges and the problem-solving teamwork skills leading up to the final test. The Lego Robotics Challenge saw students using all their prep time, fine-tuning code, and running test trials before the main event. Experiential learning consultant Marcy Berry explains their final examination.
So this year it's a disaster area that they have to move some toxic packages out of the way and then rescue a minifig off of the challenge table. It's all about coding and working through the kinks, and when your robot isn't doing what it needs to do, they have to go back and recode. We're really excited with the level of interest and engagement from both students and staff and our amazing judges too.
The students seemed highly engaged with their team members and very proud of the hard work they've done leading up to this very big day. We'll let them say what this competition taught them.
We were surprised because it's our first year here. School's never done it. We all had to keep talking to get each other to glue, cut, everything. We did a good job for our first year.
So what's this day all about to you guys?
About learning on how to code and build. First we had to figure out how to build it, then find an arm to pull the stuff. Then we had to code it so it doesn't crash into obstacles on the playing field. We felt pretty good because we finished our first main thing, but then also at the end we crashed.
The two winners from both categories will be representing their schools at Skills Ontario in Toronto on May 5th and 6th, where they will face head-to-head against over 20 other boards across the province. Jaden Billick, TBT News.
There's a couple of new Ontario lottery and gaming winners in Thunder Bay. One of them had a top prize on a scratch ticket, while the other winner took home a Lotterio jackpot. Aaron Potan won over $725,000 in the February 22nd Lotterian draw. That $1 ticket turned into a big check, which was delivered to him last week by OLG officials. The winning ticket was purchased at Alley's Corner Variety on Franklin Street. The other local winner was Calvin Jewett. He's now $88,888 richer after playing an Instant Lunar 8 scratch ticket. That $5 ticket was purchased at the Circle K store on Beverly Street. Well, it's always great to see some people having winning days. And you know what? On a much smaller scale, Fiona, it felt like a winning day for us all, I feel, with a nice warm temperature.
It was really nice. Now, no records set today, but we were definitely nice and toasty and lots of sunshine. The winds were relatively light. After kind of a cool overnight low, minus 13 was where we started with wind chills of minus 18, which is kind of a repeat of the previous night's forecast. But we did warm up to 9 Celsius. That is very comfortably on the plus side with plenty of sunshine. As I said, winds started out very, very calm, but in the afternoon started gusting up to about 35 kilometers per hour, primarily from the west. Now, if we take a look at what's going on across the region, we're not the only ones that had a chillier night. We saw Greenstone and Armstrong start off with minus 18. That's before you factor in the wind chill, so very cold north of Lake Superior. Right now they're at 7 and 6 Celsius respectively. They had loads of sunshine for most of the day. It's just been in about the last 3 hours that the clouds have rolled in. Speaking of clouds, Red Lake is mostly cloudy and has been most of the day, but they had a much milder night, but similar temperatures were very consistent for the majority of the region. 6, 7 Celsius seems to be the magic number for most areas. Fort Frances, lots of sunshine. They started out with a low of minus 12. They're currently at a high of 9 at this time under lots of sunshine. And even along the North Shore, nice similar temperatures, 8, 7 Celsius. And then we hit kind of a pocket of colder air off of the lake. 1 in Marathon, minus 1 in Wawa, Sault Ste. Marie on the plus side at 1. And it was a very cool night there. A little actually colder than Fort Frances saw. So they're still experiencing a bit of that cold front that was sweeping through, but it's doing so with quite a bit of sunshine, just a few light clouds. Here in the city of Thunder Bay, it's going to be a very different night compared to last night. Minus 2, just barely below the freezing mark, which is why under partly cloudy skies, there's a 40% chance of precipitation, but we're not sure if it's going to be wet flurries or rain. It's that close. And especially when you start out the night at 9 Celsius, it's going to take a while to get to that minus 2 first thing in the morning. Winds will start off pretty gusty, 40 kilometers per hour, but taper off down to about 15. Now, behind this, after 9 Celsius as your high, we have to talk about yet another spring storm. This is going to be kind of a repeat of last week. Originally, we thought it was going to hit probably Saturday. We've moved up the timeline. This Alberta Clipper is pushing through the west and will arrive early Friday. And when I say early Friday, it could be just an hour or two after midnight on Thursday night. So wee early mornings of Friday. This system has the potential for up to 20 centimeters of snow. And if that weren't bad enough, we've got a second system coming in from the southwest, a Colorado low that is also heading our way. However, the two storms, Haley, don't necessarily mean that it's going to be worse. You have a Colorado low bringing cooler temperatures from the north, and then you have a second system pushing up from the south. And if the low hits first, then you don't get as much of the Colorado low second. So it's going to be kind of a battle of superiority and dominance over Lake Superior. So we're going to keep an eye on that. I'll have a better idea of how the two will meet and how much it's going to affect Thunder Bay specifically and areas around Lake Superior, but that won't be until tomorrow's newscast. So something to look forward to.
Yeah, no, that sounds interesting to say the least. Thank you, Fiona. We'll have more on that later, I'm sure. But